When you find yourself at a crossroads in your personal development, there's one key question that you have to ask yourself. Stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. So what is that question that you have to ask yourself? Here's the question. Is what I need to move forward a revolution or evolution? Okay, what the heck do I mean by that? Well, you've already come to the point in your life, in your personal development, where you're saying to yourself, you know what? I need to make some changes. And when you decide that you need to make some changes, there's two ways that you can go about it. The first one is revolution, and the second one is evolution. The first thing that we can do to understand revolution versus evolution is to turn to the pure definition of those two words. The word evolution refers to the gradual development or changes in something over a period of time. The word revolution means a turnaround, a sudden, complete, or radical change in something. This actually fits with other definitions of revolution as not only a fundamental change, but also occurring in a staggeringly short period of time. So let's talk about those two things. And well, we're going to talk about one of them today and one of them the next time we get together. And then we're going to talk about revolution versus evolution on the business side of the balance sheet as an organization. So let's get started with that. You know, I have been in that position, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. You talk to people that have reached the next level, so to speak, the 5%ers, and you'll find that in their lives there was a period of time where they had to make that decision, revolution or evolution. And with me, that situation occurred a couple of years after I graduated from college. All right, in the 70s, I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. I moved to Santa Cruz. I got myself, a few jobs. I had one job at the time of the revolution where I was selling belt buckles to large organizations. I worked for this company, and we would fly to kind of shows, like there would be a prison show, or there would be a police show, or a firefighter show, and we would, because those guys loved belt buckles, and so we would fly there. We'd take, I was the sales guy, the major sales guy, and my boss had everything all set up. We had a big monolith with all these belt buckles and tables full of belt buckles, and the people would come around, to the firefighters or the policemen or the prison guards or whoever it was would come around, and they'd take a look, and they'd look down at the table, and they'd pick up a buckle, and they go, "Nice buckle." All right, they said the same thing every single time, and that's what I was doing. And I would go to work and fly to these different places, and I'm living in Santa Cruz, and for the most part my life existed of making some phone calls in the morning, and then I'd come home to Santa Cruz. I'd go to San Jose, I'd come back to Santa Cruz, and I'd go and I'd play basketball, and I was kind of living a nice little life. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was living a nice little life. I was very comfortable. And then the revolutionary period happened. And what happened was my dad flew out from the East Coast to come for a visit. I was living in one part of the Bay Area. My sister was living in another part of the Bay Area. She had just had a baby, my niece, and so he wanted to come out and see the baby, and at the same time he came out, of course, and visited with me. So he spent some time with me, and we were talking, and so what are you doing, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And I told him, and what do you do during the day, and okay. Until finally, just before he was leaving, he said to me, son, it hurts me to tell you this, but you're a bum. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Where do you see yourself going in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Where do you see yourself going? You can't keep doing this. If you want to achieve something, if you want to become something, you can't keep living this life. You have to make a decision that you're going to do something to move yourself forward. Well, needless to say, I had the greatest respect for my dad that I could possibly have. I mean, here he is, he's a graduate of Harvard, very smart man, and he comes and he says this to me. He'd never spoken to me like that before. And at first, my first reaction, like when somebody gives you some criticism, is pretty much the same, which is always, you're hurt. You have an excuse. Well, it's because of this, it's because of that, the circumstance, blah, 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 blah. That happens to everybody. I'm not unique in that area. I'm just telling my story so that you can identify with where you are in your life. Take a look. You have to examine the data. You have to take a look at where you are and where you want to be. Well, at that particular point in my time in my life, I didn't have very much ambition. My ambition was mostly to kind of go out, play basketball in the afternoon and enjoy myself, which was what I was doing, until I got jolted by my dad. And that was an aha moment, an epiphany for me. And so, he left, he flew back to, the Boston area. Here I am on the West Coast, and I'm thinking about what he said. And finally I came to the conclusion that, you know what? Your dad loves you. He's always done stuff for you that, he hoped it would make you a better person. So I had to kind of take what he said very seriously. Additionally, he was a very smart man. So I took a look and I said, you know what? He's right. Here I am. This is what I'm doing. Is this what I see myself doing for 10, 15, 20 years? And the answer, of course, was no. So at that particular moment in time, I had to make a decision. What could I do? What was I going to do to move forward? So I went and I started looking through the newspaper at various ads. I went on several job interviews, and I went to this one job interview with a company called Copa. And in this particular job interview, they were talking about, this is what we do. What we do is we help middle America save money for their future. Yeah, kind of bland. And then they pointed out the numbers of people that are successful at retirement versus people that are not successful at retirement. And the numbers were staggering. And then they pointed out how little it takes to change that scenario. It's savings. They pointed out that all savings was a habit. You either have the habit or you don't have the habit. You have savings habits, you have spending habits. You let, most people work for their money, other people let their money work for them. The idea is to do both, simultaneously, so that later on you'll have something to show for all your hard work. All right, well, that kind of moved me, all right, when they were saying, they pointed out that, you go into the grocery store and you see older people and they're buying all these different cans of, the 20 or 30 cans of cat food, and they pointed out that, like, these people don't even have cats. So guess why they're buying all that cat food? All right. So I was struck by that. They very graphically showed that. And then they showed with this company, here you are, you're coming in off the street, you're answering a blind ad, and here's what our objective is with you. We are a growing company. We have had growth for the last 15 years. Look at, they showed how they grew, and they said, this is the way that we operate, this is the way that we grow. We take people like you and we train them, and we start at ground zero. And the fact, if you know something, great, that's less than that we have to teach you. If you don't know something, that's great, that's less that we have to unteach you of the things that you're doing the wrong way. Right away, everything was positive. And they showed me and other people exactly how you advance on a step by step by step by step basis. you start in this position, you do this, this, and this, you advance to this position, do this, this, and this, so on and so forth. Well, the ad that I actually answered was a management trainee position, and what they promised was that if you do what we tell you to do and you do it well, we're going to put you in a position where you will be the manager of your very own office, and we will pay for everything in the office. So how would you like to be the owner of your own business without making any financial stake on your own? You're there because you have the capability of running an office and making money. We will share in the profits with you, of course, but you'll be in a position where you can make a lot of money. Well, I went home, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? That sounds pretty good to me. I was young, very idealistic, wanting to help the world, and in a position where I certainly could use something to go for, you know, to have a purpose, a dream, a goal, an ambition. And that aha moment from my dad, where he said, "You're a bum," changed my life for the better. At that particular point in time, I had to make a decision, and my decision was, I'm going to be committed to work for this company, to become a manager in my own office, to make the kind of money that I desire and I deserve. Okay, let me roll up my sleeves. You tell me exactly what I have to do. Well, in so doing that, there was also steps I had to take on a personal level. First of all, the distance between Santa Cruz and San Jose, where the office was 40 or 50 minutes. And going back and forth, you know, you have to actually go over a mountain, the Santa Cruz Mountains, to get from Santa Cruz to San Jose. So it was pretty good schlep to go back and forth. And so once you do that, you're making a commitment, like, I'm going to be giving up my old life completely. And I had a pretty large number of friends. You know, I had my basketball games, I had, you know, all these things, but there I was, getting up early in the morning, doing some studying, and driving over the hill, as they call it, driving over the hill to San Jose, and committed completely to that objective, to that purpose. It became my burning desire. And that revolution was, well, like I said, it was a revolution, not an evolution, because it was a complete and sudden change in my lifestyle and what I had to do. What did I have to do? Well, for the most part, I gave up all of my friends. I gave up that laissez-faire, well, not laissez-faire, that casual lifestyle for something where I was putting my nose to the grindstone. I was making the commitment. I'm going back and forth. While I'm driving back and forth, I'm listening to tapes, you know, both ways, learning, you know, sales things and so on and so forth. And I'll tell you something, that was a revolution. You in your life have to make a decision. Am I ready to change everything? And that's what I did, because I would come back, essentially I would have one day a week. I was working Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week. Sunday wasn't working when I was first getting started there. I was working Monday through Saturday, and I'd see my friends on Sunday for a short period of time, and they'd say, "Where the heck are you? Where you been? We miss you." And I was close with these people. But I made the decision that I was going to eliminate them, so to speak, for the most part, and focus and concentrate, have singleness of purpose on this one objective. It was a revolutionary move on my part. My friends couldn't understand, like, wow, look at all the things he's given up. He's not doing this, he's not doing that. But sometimes you have to look for the greater good. You have to look down the road. My point with you in this video is to say to yourself, you need to examine where you are You need to take a look, open your eyes, see where you want to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And when you ask yourself that question, if 75% of what you're doing is not going to put you there, which was the case certainly with me, then you have to say to yourself, you know what? I need to do something revolutionary. I need to make some big changes in my life. I need to cut out. Now sometimes when you're trying to add things out, it's addition by subtraction. And in my case, that was most certainly the scenario. It was addition by subtraction. Did I miss my friends? I did, but you know what? I was so focused on what it was I needed to do, the things I needed to memorize, the skills I needed to obtain and master, the relationships. You've got to say to yourself, are the relationships that I have now going to bring me to the place where I want to be ultimately? And it was a very difficult decision. It was a revolutionary decision to make. And I made it. So we're going to stop with this video and have you ask yourself, what is it I want to do down the road? Is what I need to do revolutionary or evolutionary? And if you take a look at your life and you say to yourself, 50 to 75% of what I'm doing right now is not going to put me where I want to go, then you need to make a revolutionary decision. Does that make sense? And always remember, let's not ration the passion, let's fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.